So Ford and General Motors, right, they think they're safe from Chinese expansion. They think they're safe from the Chinese EV propulsion that is really taking over the world. I mean, look, 20 years ago, China only had 2% of the global car market, 2% of manufacturing. It's now at 35%. Many experts believe that by 2030, it will hit 60 to 70%. It's forcing companies like Nissan, Honda, and Mitsubishi to merge, with Honda taking over, basically battling out Nissan. It's forcing the Volkswagen Group to fire more than 35,000 staff and very likely shut down 3 factories, because that's the equivalent to the number of staff that would work in 3 factories. It's forcing enormous structural change. It's forcing Honda to say there is a once in 100-year disruption happening in the automotive industry. But whilst General Motors and Ford and all these other companies, they think, well, you know what? Yeah, we're screwed in China. We're probably screwed in some other areas as well, but at least we make pickup trucks. And the Chinese, well, they don't really do that, right? We can hold on to that market. It's the most important car market in the United States. Yeah, maybe you can, but certainly not forever. This new electric pickup truck from Geely. Should I mention, guys, by the way, Geely is the fastest growing automaker in the world. It's not even close this year. You think BYD is growing fast? Have a look at Geely's numbers. Fastest growing automaker in the world reveals a $13,000 electric pickup truck. Now you might be thinking to yourself, and I initially thought, I was like, oh yeah, it's a bit too small though. I don't know if people will want it. But Geely went and thought, you know what? Yeah, we know some people might not want this smaller version, a little bit smaller than a Ford Ranger. Let's make a similar version of this for the same price, with a big bed, a big tray that's like the size of the tray in a Ford F-150 for $13,000. Ford and General Motors and Ram should all be concerned. They should be very concerned. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching The Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. Thanks for tuning in. Happy Christmas. Happy New Year. It's that time of year. It's a crazy time of year. It's a crazy time of year. You know what a lot of Americans think? They think, well, don't worry, because they'll be safe, because you know what? These Chinese automakers, they're not going to enter the US or Canada or Mexico. Well, first of all, China has already taken over the Mexican car market. If you didn't know that, then try to keep up. And they certainly have plans. The Chinese certainly have plans to enter the US car market. How do we know this? Well, for one, Zeekr is the only Chinese car company to have entered every single American auto show, the CES major auto show, 3 straight years in a row, right? They own Volvo. They make Volvo vehicles in America. Trump wants Chinese car companies to build factories in America and employ Americans. He's basically invited them to come and do this. Now, there is a very real possibility that Geely, who own Zeekr and Volvo, are going to just do exactly this. I mean, what's to stop them from sending this thing as a kit car, like a kit, and then just simply assemble the thing in the United States car market? At $13,000, it undercuts every single electric pickup truck in America by at least $40,000. That's a pretty big number. So what are the details on this thing? Well, first of all, I'm pretty confident this is going to come to Australia and Thailand, 2 car markets where the most popular vehicles are still pickup trucks. So this is extremely relevant. The new Geely Radar King Kong is Geely's answer to the Ford Ranger, to the Toyota Hilux, and it costs $13,700, which is insane because it's actually a really nice vehicle. Radar entered China as an EV brand in 2022, so they've been around for 2 years. But to be honest, pickup trucks are not huge sellers in China. They are gaining momentum though in China. It's certainly a segment that is growing. The price though, initially for the Radar RD6, which is basically this car, was $25,000. That was the cheapest version. And Geely went, you know what? Let's just shake things up. Let's just kind of like disrupt the market. Let's lower the price down to $18,750. That's what they did. So Car News China says they lowered the price to $18,750. Then they went, you know what? That's not enough. Let's just put a smaller battery in it, because not everyone needs a big battery. A lot of people are just going to be using these as work vehicles. They can charge them all the time. Let's put a smaller battery in it. Let's sell these for $13,000 US dollars. That is crazy. How the hell are they doing this? I don't know. But I do know one thing. Geely have their own battery company. They make more advanced batteries than BYD. They do. That's unquestionably a fact. They have two different extremely advanced batteries. They have the Geely Aegis battery, or the short blade battery, which charges at up to 600 kilowatt. Now, Geely are telling me, insiders from Geely have personally told me that they can charge at 900 kilowatt, that battery pack. It's an LFP battery. It has a pretty high energy density for LFP. It's 192 watt hours per kilogram. They also have the golden brick battery. So the golden brick battery can charge at similar speeds, but it has an energy density which is much higher at 250 watt hours per kilogram. So this is a company that is the fastest growing vehicle company in the world. They've just revealed two brand new batteries, which are getting rave reviews from owners and from people like me who are saying, look at the numbers are insane. And then they go and do this. Now, the Radar King Kong is a replacement technically for the RD6. Dimensions, how big is it? Well, there's two versions. One version is a bit shorter than the Ford Ranger. It's 5,260 millimeters long. But there's also a version that is 5.5 meters long, so 5,500 millimeters long, which means it's longer than a Ford Ranger. But seeing as the cab is the same size, all the length has just been added to the bed, meaning you're going to get a proper sized bed. I mean, a proper work truck sized bed that the Ford Ranger does not have. The Toyota Hilux, the Ford Ranger, if you want to really do proper work jobs with that, you want to carry plaster sheets, you want to carry big loads, you can't. It doesn't have a big enough tray. That's a fact. That's just the reality here. If you want a proper work truck, you've got to buy a Ford F-150, something like that with a longer tray. Well, Geely's gone, you know what? I don't know why they're doing that. Why don't we offer another version of this with a big tray, 2 meter long tray, 6 foot tray? That's what people want. So that's what you're getting. You're getting this, version for people who are weekenders, who don't necessarily drive their pickup truck for work. They can buy the smaller version. You want a commercial version, you get the longer, the bigger version. I reckon it's a really good idea. So what kind of power does this have? Well, for a base model for $13,000, it's got a lot of power. I'm shocked by it. It's got 180 kilowatt, right? That's 241 horsepower and 310 newton meters of torque. Now it's rear-wheel drive. It'll do 0 to 100 or 0 to 62 miles an hour in 8.1 seconds. It has 4 different battery options. Now, yes, the $13,000 version does have a small battery. It's a 42 kilowatt hour battery, but it's $13,000. I mean, hell, it's crazy. You want to pay a little bit more, you get a 55 kilowatt hour battery. You want to pay a bit more, you get a 73 kilowatt hour battery. You want to pay a bit more again, and you get an 86 kilowatt hour battery. Now, that top spec version with the 86 kilowatt hour battery is still cheaper than a Toyota Hilux or a Ford Ranger. Still significantly cheaper. And it gives 605 kilometers of CLTC range, which is around 500 kilometers WLTP. I think that's a lot of range for the price, a hell of a lot of range for the price. The rear-wheel drive version of the Radar RD6, it still exists, and that has a 200 kilowatt rear motor that has 270 horsepower. Now, you want four-wheel drive? You can get four-wheel drive. You can get a dual motor version of the vehicle for not much more. It's a little bit extra, but not much. And that has 280 kilowatt, which is 370 horsepower, which is a lot of power for a vehicle this size. It also has 485 newton meters of torque. 0 to 100, 0 to 62 is 5.7 seconds. That would make it the fastest pickup truck or ute in Australia, and probably the fastest in America versus internal combustion pickup trucks in America. It'd be faster than all of them, I believe. So how much is that super long range version? If you get rear wheel drive, the super long range version with 500 kilometers of WLTP range is $20,500 US dollars. $20,500. That's about 30,000 Australian dollars. It's insane, guys. This is legitimately disruption here. I can't believe the prices. The four-wheel drive version. You want the four-wheel drive version with the biggest battery pack? It's $21,900. I'm just looking at this thinking, Geely, I'll be your first customer. Please sign me up today. Now, when we spoke to Geely's VP in China, he hinted there was a good chance this vehicle was coming to overseas markets. So, I can't say for sure, but it does appear likely. The Radar RD6, this was pretty much what the Radar RD6 was. The price was $18,760 after Geely reduced the price. That was the cheapest version. And the top spec model was $28,750. So as you can see, Geely have massively slashed the price of this vehicle. It used to be, in my opinion, a little too small for a lot of people. But now there's two versions, two options. You get the long tray version and the small tray version, kind of like what you can get with the Ford F-150, right? You can get a smaller version and a longer tray version. I don't think most Americans really need a huge size Ford F-150 either. It's not practical. It's expensive to run, to maintain. The tires on those things are enormous. The fuel costs are enormous. With one of these things, you'd probably save yourself $10,000 a year in fuel costs. Plus, you'd have a much nicer vehicle to drive. This would be just so much nicer to drive, much quieter, much more comfortable. Honestly, I think this is the future of the pickup truck. This thing is going to disrupt markets all around the world. When will it disrupt the US market? Well, I don't know. But I think eventually vehicles like this will likely disrupt that market as well.